Hi, I'm Mayor Andy Shore. Many thanks to each of you for joining us tonight for this important discussion. Throughout this nation, a disproportionate number of people of color have been victims of excessive use of force at the hands of police. In addition, historically, people of color have been discriminated against in the workplace, within our communities, and in society in general. On May 26th in Minneapolis, Mr. George Floyd died at the hands of 4 police officers who've been charged in his death. Soon after Mr. Floyd died, social justice protests emerged in cities and towns in America and throughout the world. Protesters have marched in the name of justice and equity, calling for the elimination of racism and discrimination in communities, workplaces, and in society in general. Many corporate, government, organizational, and individual leaders have now taken steps to examine brands, policies, procedures, and practices in an effort to address racism and discrimination and to work toward achieving equity. The public response in the aftermath of the videotaped George Floyd murder has rekindled and intensified the national call for reform and the need to have an honest dialogue to address systematic racism and its impact on African Americans and other communities of color. In response to concerns raised within the Lansing community that are consistent with concerns that have been raised throughout the nation, I've taken steps to change policies, having recently released my Racial Justice and Equity Community Action Proposals. My administration is hard at work taking immediate actions and working on next steps and long-term planning. Please know that I continue to listen to you. I hear you, and I want to hear more. We need your input. We're continuing to examine our policies, practices, and procedures, understanding that when assessing this type of examination, we need widespread input and advice from a diverse range of people who live, work, and visit Lansing. That's why I'm seeking your input through your participation in this community input meeting. We'd also like for you to complete a survey that's available on the city's website. Please share your experiences and stories with us. For additional assistance, I've established the Mayor's Racial Justice and Equity Alliance, and I've appointed a group of highly talented individuals who live and work in Lansing to review all of your input while assessing policies, practices, and biases to gain a deeper understanding of how to end any violence, racism, and racial discrimination in Lansing. The Alliance will develop a racial justice and equity plan for the city. We all want to ensure that the city's plan is community-inspired. That's why we need your input. The Alliance will be co-chaired by Kimberly Coleman, Director of the Department of Human Relations and Community Services for the city, and Police Chief Daryl Green. Teresa Bingman, a Lansing-based attorney with extensive legal and policy experience in civil rights, criminal justice, and social action, will work with the committee as an expert consultant. This conversation provides essential dialogue between police, City Hall, and our community. We need to engage with you, the community, to obtain a full understanding of the issues and priorities. We also have to reaffirm the fundamental principles of policing and build trust while improving the police-community relationship. We know that police reform and racial justice work are interrelated, and these two concepts must coexist to produce, advance, and enact meaningful public policy changes and public safety reforms in our communities. Thank you for your interest in helping Lansing, Michigan's capital city, achieve the goals of racial justice and equity.